King or queen.
Sorry, can you say that again? What is a hereditary title?
King and queen.
Queen.
Good. King or queen. So when we think about this,
That is
hereditary means it goes from the parents to the children. So when someone is, like in this picture, a king or a queen, their children will also be kings or queens. So something that is hereditary goes from the parents, the mom and dad, to the children. And title would be something like king or queen. Good. Do we have any kings or queens here in the United States?
No, teacher.
No, good. So because we don't have any kings or queens, that is why they ask on your citizenship application, do you now have, or did you ever have a hereditary title or an order of nobility in any foreign country? And
No.
what would you say?
No. No, teacher.
No. Good. And remind me one more time, what is a hereditary title?
King and queen.
King or queen? Also, if you said king and queen, that would also be correct. Both are correct. King or queen, king and queen, both. As long as you say king and queen, that's good. Those are the correct answers. Okay, so let's practice. Hassan, do you now have, or did you ever have, a hereditary title or an order of nobility in any foreign country?
Yeah, some country we had the king or queen.
Oh yes, some countries you have the king or queen, but did you ever have the king or queen?
No.
No? Good. And what is a hereditary title?
The king and queen.
Good, great job, Hassan. Okay, let's see. Aisha, do you now have, or did you ever have, a hereditary title or an order of nobility in any foreign country?
No.
And what is a hereditary title?
King or queen.
Good. Now, what if instead of saying, what is a hereditary title, what about if they asked you why? So sometimes they ask you for the meaning of the word. They'll ask you what it means. But what about if after you said no, they said why? What would you say to that? So we know a hereditary title is king or queen, but if they asked why you are saying no, you would say, I'm not a, what do you think? I'm not a, what are you? Yes?
King or queen. Family of a king.
King and queen.
Family of queen.
Good, yes, you could say, so if they asked you why, you could say
I'm
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 not
not
I'm
a
not
king
or
or queen. So sometimes after a question, they might ask you what, which is asking for the meaning. But if you hear why, you would say, I'm not a king or queen. So let's see, let's practice. Sharnemu, do you now have or did you ever have a hereditary title or an order of nobility in any foreign country?
no.
And why?
I'm not king and queen.
Good. Very good. Okay, let's see. Shartuga, do you now have or did you ever have a hereditary title or an order of nobility in any foreign country?
no.
And why not?
I'm not a king or queen.
Good. So that's how, if you hear why, you can say, I'm not a king or queen. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions about this?
No.
Okay, good. Okay, now this one, legally incompetent. What does legally incompetent mean?
Not
Not able to take care for yourself.
yourself.
Good. So you can say not
Not
able
to
to
Take
care of
care of yourself.
yourself.
Yeah, so someone who is legally incompetent, they cannot make their own decisions. And like we see in this picture, this woman, she cannot take care of herself. But really, it's about like also another correct answer would be if you were declared insane or crazy. So if you were to be declared insane or crazy, you cannot make your own decisions. Like all of you decided to join citizenship class, so you can make your own decisions. Someone who is legally incompetent cannot make their own decisions. You could also say, instead of saying not able, it would be correct to also say unable to take care of yourself. So let's practice. Muter lair, what does legally incompetent mean?
Not able to take care of yourself.
Of yourself. Good. Let's see.
Oh.
Aisha, what does legally incompetent mean?
Unable to take care of yourself.
Good. Nilar, what does legally incompetent mean?
Not able to take off legal
Good. Say take care
care
of
of
yourself.
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 Self.
Yourself is just the same as you.
Yourself.
So talking about when we, in English, we would say yourself, it means you. So you're talking about you. Good. Does anyone have any questions?
No.
No.
Okay, let's practice. Okay, let's see. Shartuga, have you ever been declared legally incompetent or been confined to a mental institution?
No.
No, good. And what does legally incompetent mean?
Not able to take care of yourself.
Good, yes. Not able to take care of yourself. Good, and then let's see, Muterlair, have you ever been declared legally incompetent or been confined to a mental institution?
No, teacher.
And what does legally incompetent mean?
Not able to take care of yourself.
Good. And Hassan, have you ever been declared legally incompetent or been confined to a mental institution?
No.
And what does legally incompetent mean?
Not ability.
Good, yes, not able to take care of yourself. Very good. Okay. And Communist Party. What is the Communist Party?
Governor to our
Government
leader.
the leader.
The leader.
Good, government
The leader.
chooses the leaders. So here in the United States, who chooses the leaders?
Donald Trump. President.
Oh yeah, so a president is one of the leaders, but who chooses the leaders? Who votes for the leaders? The people. Good. Yeah, so here in the United States, in a democracy, it's the people who choose the leaders. We get to vote for the leaders.
Choose the leader.
But in the Communist Party, the government chooses the leaders. So the people do not get to vote for the leaders. The government chooses the leaders. What does anyone remember the second definition for Communist Party?
Freedom of commerce.
Good, yes, no freedom of commerce. So from the 100 questions, they ask, what is the economic system of the United States?
Not the economy.
Economy.
Market economy.
Good. So the U.S. economic system, we can say, is a market economy. Or does anyone know what is the other term we can use?
Capitalist economy.
Capitalist.
Capitalist economy.
Economy.
So in the US economic system, we have a lot of freedom of commerce. So commerce is buying, selling, businesses. Anyone can go and open their own business. But in a communist party, there's not as much freedom of commerce. It's more controlled by the government. Good, very good. So both, you do not have to say both of these answers. You can just pick the one that is easier for you to remember because both are correct. So if you said government chooses the leaders, that's correct. If you said no freedom of commerce, that would be correct. And one last question. What countries are communist parties? Can you give me examples of some countries? So when we talk about the Communist Party, what countries? Is the United States a communist party?
China. Promise.
China.
Korea.
Korea.
North
Korea.
Korea.
North Korea.
Good. North Korea. And right now,
Germany. Germany라 그러죠. Germany.
Germany.
Germany, no, Germany is also a market economy, but China, North Korea, Cuba, these are all communist parties. Good. Also, another one that has to do with Communist Party from the 100 questions, what was the main concern of the United States during the Cold War?
Communist.
The Communist Party.
Good. So during the Cold War, whoops, the main concern of the United States was communism. So this is why this question on the citizenship application goes back to the Cold War. Because the United States wanted countries to be more of a democracy, and they did not want countries to be communist. So after World War II, countries like Russia became the United Soviet States of Russia, and they were a communist country. Same with China, as a communist country. And the United States did not want more countries to become communist. They wanted more countries to become a democracy. That's why we talk about the Cold War. There was no fighting in the Cold War, but Russia and the United States were both building a lot of weapons. Like, students, what are weapons?
Weapon.
So they were building lots of weapons, so like a gun, knife, or bomb.
Bond, gold, knife, bond.
And especially during the Cold War, both Russia and United States were building these very big bombs. So they wanted to have lots of weapons to have lots of power. So that's why this question on our citizenship application, they still ask if you've ever been in the Communist Party. Because when we talk about a main concern, it's what we would call a problem. So it's not something good for the United States. The United States government does not like communism, so they see it as a problem. So that's why on your application to be a United States citizen, they ask, have you ever been a member of or in any way associated with the Communist Party? And what would you say?
No.
No.
No, good. And what is the Communist Party?
Governor choose a leader.
Leader.
Freedom,
The government chooses the leaders.
no freedom or common.
No freedom, common.
No freedom of
Common.
Good,
Commerce.
thank you. So yes, you could say government chooses the leaders or no freedom of commerce. So let's practice. So Shernemu, have you ever been a member of or in any way associated with the Communist Party?
No.
And what is the Communist Party?
Government choose other leader. No freedom of commerce.
Good. Let's see, who else? Aisha, have you ever been a member of or in any way associated with the Communist Party?
No.
And what is the Communist Party?
Government chooses the leader.
Good. see. Nilar U, have you ever been a member of or in any way associated with the Communist Party?
No.
And what is the Communist Party?
Government choose the leader.
Good. Okay. And last, training. So students, what do you see in this picture?
Play.
Yeah, that's our brain.
Yeah.
And what's it doing?
To learning something. To learn something.
Yeah, it's good. It's exercising. So the brain is exercising. And when we exercise our brain, we are learning something, correct?
Learning something.
So training is to learn something new. Like in our class today, we are learning about citizenship. So you are training for your citizenship interview. So that's what training means. Does anyone have any questions about training?
This is something new.
Just good.
Training.
Learn something new. And then on your citizenship application, they ask, did you ever receive any type of military, paramilitary, or weapons training? And what would you say?
No.
No.
Good. No. And what does training mean?
To learn something new.
To learn something.
Learn something.
So for this question, students, remember, what does military mean? What is a military?
Through a soldier.
Soda who
Protest the government.
Good, yeah. A group of soldiers who protect the government. Very good. So for this one, they're asking about training, but it's asking about military training. It's asking you, have you ever been a soldier? Or have you ever had, maybe you weren't a soldier, but maybe you were trained by soldiers. So they're asking you, have you had any training to be a soldier? Or they ask if you've had any weapons training. And remind me one more time, what are weapons?
gun.
Good.
Oh,
So this question is asking, have you ever been trained to be a soldier and to use like weapons like a soldier? So that's what they're asking, if you've had any sort of army training. So, and let's practice. We'll go with Muterler. Did you ever receive any type of military, paramilitary, or weapons training?
No.
No. And what does training mean?
To learn something new.
Good. Hassan, did you ever receive any type of military, paramilitary, or weapons training?
No.
And what does training mean?
To learn something new.
Good. And then one last one, let's see. Shartuga, did you ever receive any type of military, paramilitary, or weapons training?
No.
And what does training mean?
To learn something new.
Good. Good job, everyone. Does anyone have any questions about these words?
No, teacher.
No?
No, teacher.
For homework, oh, yep, there we go. There are our weapons. For homework, I want us to practice these next 4 words. Fraudulent, claim.
Misrepresentation.
Oh, good, Aisha. Yes, misrepresentation.
Misrepresentation.
Good.
Misrepresentation.
Yeah, it's a big one. Misrepresentation. Good. Yeah. Misrepresentation. Let's see. So misrepresentation. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 syllables. It's a long word. And the last one, truth.
True.
Not
I will lie.
Yeah. So what does truth mean?
I will not lie.
Good. So truth matches with number 1. I will not lie. Good. Is it a crime to lie to your teacher?
No.
No. It should be. No, just kidding. It's not. So it's not a crime to lie to your teacher. But is it a crime to lie during your interview?
No, teacher.
Or during your citizenship interview, is it a crime to lie?
Yes.
Yes, it is a crime to lie during your citizenship interview. So we want to make sure we're always telling the truth. What about fraudulent? What does fraudulent mean?
Fake.
Fake.
Not true. Not real.
Real.
No.
Good. So fraudulent means fake, not true or not real. What about claim? What does claim mean?
To say something is true.
choose.
Good. To say something is true. And what about misrepresentation?
To lie.
Good. So I always say misrepresentation is a long word, but it has a short meaning. To lie. Good. So these 4, you can keep practicing with the 4 we did. I'm going to make a quiz to send to all of you. You can practice at home. Does anyone have any questions?
No.
No, teacher.
Okay, so let's now get our books and we're going to look at chapter 4. So we were talking about the new United States. So chapter 4 begins on page, let's see. Chapter 4 starts on page 50. 50. We're going to look at page 50. The new United States.
New United States.
So let's review what we did last week. I'll ask the question and everyone can answer. Why did the colonists fight the British?
Because of high
Because prices.
You can say, yeah, because of high taxes. What's another reason the colonists fought the British?
They wanted to choose our leader.
To choose their leader.
Good, yeah, they wanted to choose their own leader. So you could say both, because of high taxes, or they wanted to choose their own leader. Very good. So let's try. We're going to do the thing where I'm going to ask a question, but I'm only going to say a few words, and let's see if you can understand what question I'm asking, okay? So let's see. When celebrate independence?
July 2.
Good. Very good.
Yes.
So the question was, when do we celebrate Independence Day?
July
July
4.
4.
Good, good. And that was good because sometimes when you're listening, the interviewers will speak very quickly. So that's why I like to practice just saying maybe like 3 words to see if you can hear the question. That's why I said, when celebrate independence? And
July
July
4.
4. Good. So let's try that again. There 13 states.
New York.
Not
Yes.
there
Yeah,
60.
New Jersey.
Good, yes. New York, New Jersey,
New Jersey.
New Hampshire.
Hampshire. Good. So I was asking, there were 13 original states.
Yeah.
Name 3.
New Jersey.
New York, New Jersey,
New Jersey.
New Hampshire.
What year?
And what about, we'll try this question. What 2 rights Declaration of Independence?
Life.
Liberty.
Liberty.
Good, life and liberty. Yeah, good. So the question was, what are 2 rights in the Declaration of Independence?
Life.
Life and liberty.
Good, life and liberty. And then, okay, now this one, I'm going to say the full question, but I'm going to say it very fast. So listen carefully. What did the Declaration of Independence do?
Life for 2020.
For 77.
So this,
Hmm?
what do you say, Chernimu?
July 4.
So for this one, I actually asked, what did the Declaration of Independence do?
The United States free.
It said the United States is free.
Evident. Yes.
Good, yes. So the Declaration of Independence said the United States,
Free.
Strong evidence. Yes.
yes, from Great Britain. Good. So here, let's now look at these slides. So we saw, so this was the war between the United States and Great Britain, or the King of England. So yeah, so for 100 questions, why did the United States fight the British?
Because the high taxes.
Because
The high taxes, or you could say they wanted.
You want to choose the war leader.
Good. So let's do
only.
start to God. Will you read the question? Will you read the 100 question? And Nilar, will you answer the question? Okay.
Yes. When does the colony fight the Britain?
Because all had tested.
Good. Okay, and now Shernemu, will you read the 100 question? And Hassan, will you answer?
Where did the colony find the British?
Because of Hereditary.
Yeah, good job, everyone. Okay, so now so that's one of the 100 questions. And then remember Declaration of Independence. Here's a picture of it. So this question asks, what did the Declaration of Independence do?
That the United States
And the United States.
is free.
It said the
The
United
United States
The United States
Is free. Is saying this United States is free.
Good. Okay, so Aisha, will you read the 100 question? And Muterlair, will you answer?
Yeah, teacher.
What did the Declaration of Independence do?
As the United States is free.
Good. Very good. Okay, and now Hassan, will you read the 100 question? And let's see, Shernemu, will you answer?
Yes.
That the United States free.
Okay, Hassan, can you read the question?
What did the Declaration for Independence do?
It said the United States is free.
Good, good. Okay. So if you hear, so when I said this very quickly, I think people heard the words independence and thought July 4th. But for this one, if you hear Declaration Independence do, you would say it said the United States is free. Because what does independence mean? What's the meaning of independence? I heard it. Aisha, you're right. It means free.
Freedom.
Freedom. Good. So Declaration of Independence, independence means freedom.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then what are the two rights in the Declaration of Independence?
Like
Liberty.
liberty.
I am liberty.
Good. Liberty. And then we can see here.
Life
Life.
and liberty. Life.
Life and liberty. And where is the Statue of Liberty?
New York
New York
City.
Harbor.
We all have a
Good. New York Harbor, New York City.
New York City.
Has anyone ever been to New York City?
Yes. What is
No,
that?
No?
no.
When you, oh, here, let me show you. When you go to New York City, you will see it's a small island.
Yeah.
Let me get a picture for you. It's a small island next to the city. So it's not in the city, it's next to the city. Okay.
Oh.
So we can see here. Can you see the picture? So here is New York City, and then on the island next to the city. So it's not in the city, it's next to New York City. Good. So you can take a boat. You can take a boat from New York City and go and visit the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, we'll keep going. So now this question, when was the Declaration of Independence adopted?
July 4,
July 4,
1776.
1776.
Is it July 4th,
2026.
1776? And
When
when we say adopted, it means people agreed on it. So this is page, let's see, this would be page 54.
Mhm.
And look at page 54. Does anyone have their book? Who would like to read on page 54 for me?
That's
The
the
respective colonies.
return
Okay, Aisha, can you read?
the leader of the 30 colonies agreed with the ideas in the dissertation. The voted yes on the dissertation. The dissertation of independence was adopted on July 4, 1776.
Good, thank you. So at the time, the original 13 colonies, so we see in the picture here, the leaders of the 13 colonies came together to vote on the Declaration of Independence. And did they vote yes or did they vote no?
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
yes. They voted yes.
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 They voted yes on the
Yes.
Declaration of Independence. So we can see here, adopted means the leaders voted yes. So everyone agreed. They wanted the United States to be free from the King of England. They wanted their own country. They wanted to start their own country. So that's why with the 100 questions, when you hear Declaration of Independence adopted, they're asking for the day all the leaders voted yes. So that's why you need to give month, day, and year, because they're asking for the day everybody voted yes on it. So let's see. Let's see. Muterlair, will you ask the 100 questions? This question? And Hassan, will you answer it?
Yeah. When was the Declaration of Independence adopted?
July 4, 1776.
Yeah, you-
Vote yes.
Good. So for this, you would say 1776. Okay, now can I have Shernemu, will you read the question? And Nilar will you answer?
When was the Declaration of Independence adopted?
July 4, 1776.
Very good, thank you. Okay, now let's look at the next one. So that's when it was adopted. That's when all of the leaders said yes. But what about, let's see, can I have Muterlair? Will you read this question for me?
When do we celebrate Independence Day?
Good. And can I have Aisha, will you answer? When do we celebrate Independence Day?
July 4,
Good, July 4th.
1776.
Oh, but for this one, when we have
Yes.
celebrate,
Yeah, yes.
we only say July 4th.
Oh,
Okay, Nilar U, will you read the question? And Shartuga, will you answer?
Where do we celebrate Independence Day?
July 4.
Good. So for this question, we only say July 4th. So celebrate, we say July 4th. If you hear Declaration of Independence adopted, what would you say?
July
July 4th, 1776.
6.
Good. You would say the July 4th, 1776. Yeah. Okay, now let's look at page, here first. So who won the war between the colonists and the British king? Who won?
The colony.
Yeah. So the colonists, they won the war.
World
So
War
they
II.
said, bye-bye, British king. And the colonists got to make their own government. They got to start a new government. So when the colonists won the war, we can see on page 55, the 13 original colonies became the first 13 states. And how many states do we have today?
50.
50 states.
50 states, good. But in the very beginning, back in the 1700s, so after they won the war, there were only 13 states.
Oh, 20 states.
13 states, good. So this is where I know many students like to just do, so there were 13, but you only need to name 3. I know New York,
New Jersey,
New Jersey,
New Hampshire,
and New Hampshire are some of everyone's favorites to say. New York, New Jersey, New Hampshire.
Hampshire.
But any of these answers would be correct. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Pennsylvania,
Delaware,
Delaware, Maryland,
Maryland,
Virginia,
Virginia,
South
North
Carolina.
Carolina,
North Carolina,
South Carolina,
Carolina, Georgia.
Georgia, George Washington.
Yeah. So there, yeah, Georgia is like George for George Washington. Good. So so there were 13 answers, but you only need to remember 3. So let's see. Mutterlair, can you name 3 of the first states?
New York, New Jersey, New Hampshire.
Good. Hassan, will you name 3 of the first states for me?
Yeah, New Jersey.
Virginia. North Carolina.
Good. Yeah, New York, New Jersey, New Hampshire. Good. Shartuga, will you name 3 of the original states for me?
New Hampshire, New York, New Jersey.
Good. Good job, everyone. So that's page 55. And then, so just to review, in the 1600s, so in the 1600s, we had colonists come to the United States. That's when they traveled by boat from Europe to the United States. Then in the 1770s, we had the colonists were angry with the British king, and the British king was their leader, so they started a war to become a new country. They did not want to be a part of England anymore. And what happened in 1776?
70%.
Then,
They adopted.
Yeah, they adopted. What did they adopt?
Adopt.
Declaration of Independence.
Don't matter.
the leader rules.
Independent.
Depend of the independent.
I had to think for a minute of how to spell independence. Even for me, spelling independence is very difficult. So adopted the so in 1776, they adopted the Declaration of Independence. And students, who wrote the Declaration of Independence?
Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson. Good. So after they became their own country, then the United States leaders needed to make the rules for the country. So they needed to make the laws. And they needed to, what does the Constitution do?
Set up the government.
Good. They needed to set up the government. So next week, we're going to be talking about when the Constitution was written. So we're going to be looking at page 57 to 63. So I'll show you. Okay, 1 second.